coming, and Perkins gets away, but now the ball's on the ground. Left, looking in trouble. And that's it. The Falcons are home. That's the key. There we go. Game on the line. A stumble. Nick from behind. He's taken down. But for the second straight year, the game ends on a sack.
And welcome back to Coming Off the Edge. Guys, it's Tuesday. It's 7 o'clock. Oh, lots of news going in and out around the NFL. Man, how about that game last night? Screw the news.
Ooh, what a game, dude.
So I've heard. I
mean, Corey, we know you don't watch football, but just in case you did watch some of that game last night, man, I rewatched the second half this afternoon, and I mean, you didn't really want to watch the first half. The first half was just straight garbage.
Oh, we're losing, Chef.
No,
Chef, we're losing.
Come back,
Chef. We're losing you.
Oh yeah, apparently. Oh my gosh, I am so sorry.
Come back to us. Something about the second half saying.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but for a show of hands, how many of you guys have had the bad beat happen to you because of that game, the comeback, the nightmares, or you came back and won your matchups yesterday?
Oh, I lost by 1.
Yeah, I had Lamar and Hollywood Brown going in 1, and it was on sleeper. And at halftime, I got like the 5% chance of winning, and then I went to bed and woke up, and I missed the very tail end. Like I watched most of it, but then I woke up and I won by 50 points, and it was like okay.
It was one of those weeks.
That was how it went.
Yeah, that second half was wild, man. Marquise Brown balling out.
Hollywood.
He's
pretty good.
Mark Andrews with 2 touchdowns and 2 2-point conversion catches. That pushed Jen over the edge, I think, in 2 leagues. And then Michael Pittman had a decent game on the other side of it. And that actually got me a win by 0.24 points. Yeah.
So one of my feature pieces I wrote this offseason was on Mark Andrews. And the start of the season, I was worried, and I felt like I was going to be wearing some egg on my face. But then I think right now he's sitting at like tight end 2 or something like that. So, it worked out.
Is that a saying? Wear egg on your face?
I've never heard of that.
I mean, I'm a chef, and I've never heard that one.
That's only if there's an accident in the kitchen. I'm wearing.
Yeah, I'm assuming so. I mean, I played baseball in the kitchen once.
You know me, my dad.
That seems like a bad idea.
And a spatula.
Was it hard boiled?
No, it was not. It was great.
Okay.
Cool. Sounds like a mess, dude.
Oh yeah, I didn't have to clean it up either. It was great.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what dishwashers are for, right?
Don't play.
No. I don't discriminate against anybody. I just made the other guy clean it up. Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Not the people. I had to wash dishes once, but we should probably get back to the fantasy football content.
I
mean, we don't have to.
So, yeah, dude, when I worked, I was a busboy and I got punished, so I had to do the dishes for the day. All the pots, pans, dude.
That was I had a job in college that I did pots and pans and watched them in the cafeteria. So, and I got to eat free cafeteria food. It was my senior year, the summer, and so as a college student, you get to eat free food and you get paid to wash some dirty pans. It was what it was.
I'll tell you what, man. In a high volume restaurant, dishwasher might be the hardest job.
HVR, yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out, Chef. Is Chef frozen?
Chef is frozen. Chef's pulling up.
He's really thinking. It looks like he was really thinking.
I thought he was going thinking man on us.
Yeah, dude. I'm
gonna have to restart my computer, man. I don't know what's going on with the internet tonight. But that mean I got in with the dishwasher thing and the busboy and all that, and I'm wondering maybe they should implement that in the NFL for all the penalties that are committed.
Dude, they're calling 4 times as much plays.
Right. Like
per game.
If you commit a penalty, you have to wash the dishes after the team meals. I think it would stop some things, wouldn't it?
I would think about it.
Maybe.
Yeah, there's like 4 more plays per game being called by the refs. So penalties, not plays. Wow, yeah, the refs are calling plays these days.
Yeah, calling plays.
You can tell for some of the teams. Anyway.
Yeah, 4 more penalties. Wow.
You guys go ahead and talk. I'm going to go restart my computer before it gets any
absolutely
worse.
Ridiculous.
What happened?
The Bills pulled away, but that was terrible at the beginning of that game with penalties. So, but the Bills look fantastic. The Bills look like they might be the best team in football right now. So
Josh Allen MVP?
Know what to think about that? But
who's the front?
What's that?
Who's the front runner for MVP? Is it Josh Allen?
I think it's either Tyler or Josh Allen right now. I would think would be one of those two guys, and it's the type of thing where. I mean, I'm biased, but I think that Josh Allen should have gotten a little bit more consideration last year than what he did. But MVP it kind of feels like a trailing award where they kind of say it's like in this cycle where like we should have given it to this guy last year, but he's having a great year this year, so he'll get it this year. And then that would put Josh Allen on task to get it this year and then give it to Kyler next year. I do think that if he leads the Buffalo Bills to the number 1 seed in the AFC, that storyline in and of itself, being the Bills, how down they were for so long to get the number 1 seed in the AFC, I would have to think he's the locks on favorite for MVP, assuming the numbers are pretty equal between him and everybody else.
Yeah,
I would agree. I mean, to me, my argument for Josh Allen, if they get the number 1 seed, there's no way they're even in the playoff conversation without Josh Allen.
I don't know. That team is so good, though. That defense is really kicked in, and
the defense,
they've got Diggs and having. I don't know. They don't have a dominant running back that they would be relying on certainly, but the defense is back to where it was kind of a couple years ago, and Stephon Diggs isn't producing. I had a question today on Twitter. Somebody was like, "What do I do with Stephon Diggs?" And the reality is it's right now they don't need him. So it's almost that type of thing where, if we're winning by 25 a week, we don't really need you right now. I would have to think that defenses are probably going to drop back a little bit more. I think right now what you're seeing is they're taking away the underneath and kind of Cole Beasley and Stephon Diggs where they feasted last year. Now Josh Allen's able to hit Dawson Knox down the field and Emmanuel Sanders down the field. And so when you're not needing that, and then when your running game is going well, it's going a lot better than what was expected. The defense is clicking. It's just one of those that we don't need to lean on you right now.
Right. Oh, and that's fair, but they will. They will.
That he will have his moment because when the defenses start dropping back a little bit more to stop Emmanuel Sanders and Dawson Knox running free down the field, then you'd think that Diggs would kind of get his a little bit more. So I think it's definitely a hold. It's hard right now because like we talk about Allen Robinson's a guy that probably has most everybody worried, and I know Dave had mentioned about how Justin Fields isn't even looking for him unless he's wide open, and he's the type of guy that he's just not going to get wide open. It's week 5, it's week 6 now. And so some of these underperforming elite players, the expectations aren't going to be there where we thought they would be. Alvin Kamara seems like another one. Maybe he's disappointing. Jonathan Taylor last night, we saw him break off a big run early, but that usage just isn't there. So I don't know. It's kind of put up or shut up time on some of these guys.
So you mentioned these guys. So are these guys that you should acquire in your season long leagues in hopes that they do click when it comes to fantasy playoff time? Or is it going to just be like a foreshadowing of their entire season where it's just going to be underperforming and, just really sad to see?
Well, I think record is probably dependent on that for me, because if I'm sitting here at 5-0 or 4-1, I may be a little bit more aggressive, especially a guy like I have Cordell Patterson or some of these other guys that are producing right now. It might be a little bit more aggressive to try to turn that into an Alvin Kamara, just in the off chance that if everything hits right, you've got an elite roster going into the playoffs. If you're a losing team, I don't know. It's hard as a losing team because on the opposite end of that, because part of it's like you got to do something to get some production. But at the same time, if you flip a Christian McCaffrey and you turn your season around, but you're kind of right there. Once you get into the playoffs, you're running into these teams that were able to build elite teams because they took your Christian McCaffrey. And so season long, it's just always hard for me when in trade talks to give up the best player, I feel like, and that's just a hurdle that I've always struggled with when it comes to trade talks. Dynasty makes it a little bit easier because of the age cycles, but when it comes to season long, I'm the type that I'm trying to just accumulate how many elite-ish in my mind, even if they're not producing at that time, that I possibly can.
Well, that's the thing in redraft is that you're waiting for that player to pop. And there's some guys like we're going to start to figure out when Stephon Diggs is going to pop. So when Now I can start relying on Stephon Diggs as someone who's going to perform for me. There are situational times where it's like last night, Marquise Brown, Lamar Jackson. You knew that they were going to have a good game against that Indy defense because that Indy defense is decent but not stellar. It didn't come until the second half, but you were starting all those guys. Marquise Brown, and especially with all the injuries and underperformances that we've all had to deal with. But some of these star guys are going to pop. It's just figuring out when it's going to happen.
You don't know when it's going to actually happen, but I mean, it's the luck of the draw sometimes in fantasy. I think a lot of us forget about that. Like, we all want our players to hit, especially the ones with the higher draft capital. But when we talk about guys like Marquise Hollywood Brown, Allen Robinson, I mean, we waited 5 weeks for Robert Woods to show up. I mean, those are the kind of players that we've relied on in the past. And we have to remember that it is a longer season this year. You know, they are going to change up their game scripts depending on matchups. So those are the kind of things that we have to show a little bit of patience on. And, you know, like Myles Gaskin didn't do anything 2 weeks ago, barely had a touch. And then this week he shows up and I guess I'm frozen again. Great. I'm freezing.
You can hear you though.
Right. Yeah.
We can hear you.
Oh, man.
You're on the day. Keep going.
Myles Gaskin, you know, he gets 10 catches for 70 yards or something like that. Winds up putting up a big game. Running back, at least the top 10 running back this week. Is that going to happen every week? No, absolutely not. But then we have guys like Julio Jones that's barely seen the field that we spent decent draft capital on. Allen Robinson, I'll go back to him again. We spent good draft capital on him. What do you do with a player like Allen Robinson? You can't do too much because he hasn't performed. And even when he has had 6 or more targets, he's not producing at the level of his draft capital. So you have to take a hit and possibly bunch him up with another player to hope that you have some good return on that draft capital for redraft.
So we kind of mentioned about, you know, players who are underperforming. What about someone who is not performing? And that's because Michael Thomas is going to be coming back in a week? Potentially. Do we think Michael Thomas is in fact going to come back and play for the Saints?
I don't think he is.
A lot of people are out there saying, can't wait to be able to plug him in my lineup.
I think he's going to play for the Saints. I do. I don't know. You know, it seemed to, I don't know. It's such a saga. It's like, I feel bad because I feel like I got sucked into it, assuming the production that we saw 2 years ago and what the drama that happened last year, where it seemed like he wanted out and there was questions about if he was going to be traded or not. I could see a trade possibility, but it's, I think that they wanted Callaway to step up, Marquise Callaway, and he didn't. He made some plays. He's starting to make a couple more plays, but I don't think you can feel comfortable feeling like he's going to be a number one wide receiver right now. And so it's one of those that I don't think they're ready to completely pull the plug on this team being good or not. I don't know. It's another name that's out there is Sean Watson, and it'd be interesting to see if like you could do a package of like maybe you move Michael Thomas off to a team that's looking for a wide receiver, you pick up a pick there, and you shuffle some picks, and you send Jameis Winston and some picks and whatever else for Watson. But that's just me being crazy, and I know my trade ideas on Twitter tend to get me in a little bit of trouble. So I don't know, just throwing some stuff out there. But I do think that right now, as long as that team thinks they're going to contend, I think that they're going to bring Thomas back and he's going to play for him.
Hey, good morning over there to Brad. Shout out to Australia.
Brad, shout out, buddy.
So what about this? When is the trade deadline for the NFL?
It's the end of the month.
11th.
End of this month?
It's like November 2nd or so. It's like early November, I believe, because I looked it up because I'm holding Watson on my SFB team, and I'm just like, I don't know when to cut bait on that. But it was one of those that as we get closer to the trade deadline, if there's no talk at all on trades, then you got to cut him. But
November 2nd.
I mean, do we realistically think that Deshaun Watson A gets traded, and B, if he does get traded, he's gonna play?
I don't know, man.
No.
I mean,
No,
I don't.
Do you realistically think that an NFL team would have a report come out on Friday about John Gruden saying racist things about DeMaurice Smith and allow him to go on the sidelines on Sunday?
Well, it's the Raiders. Unless the Raiders are in on Deshaun Watson.
I don't know. You just never know with these teams. It's
true.
If Deshaun Watson was going to play, he would have played already.
Yep,
in my opinion.
I agree.
Or been traded.
There's too much going on there to allow him to play, and that's the bottom line. Even if he gets traded, like I can see him sitting out for a whole another season until he actually gets his penalty from the NFL. And who's to say that that penalty isn't going to be more drastic now that we're seeing things come out with John Gruden? We see other players getting involved with civil suits and stuff like that. When is enough for these players and us as fantasy managers and fantasy players to turn around and say, no, I don't want to deal with this guy. I don't care what kind of production he puts on the field or in my fantasy roster. I don't want to have anything to do with him. That's personally who I am right now. I didn't want to have anything to do with Deshaun Watson. And usually I stay away from off the field interactions. But when it involves, especially in dynasty formats where it's year in, year out, full year and values, that's when I'm nervous about players like Deshaun Watson.
But like people have Tyreek Hill, people have Kareem Hunt, people have Joe Mixon. I mean, people have
Antonio Brown.
I think the Antonio Brown. Like some of this outrage is extremely selective, and so I think that's what makes it hard on some of the. I get your point. I completely understand your point, but if you're just going to rule out any guy that's gotten in trouble off the field, it's just one of those that I don't know. It's such a touchy subject. And
I mean, they let Josh Gordon come back into the league. How many times now? 6,
7,
7.
I don't know. I just say
okay.
Might as well be 6 or 7. He did get.
You got to follow the rules, but I mean, we're comparing marijuana to sexual assault, and
Thank you, Jeff.
Right. I mean, but Ray Rice never came back.
Well, did you see the video?
Yeah, I saw. I was in Atlantic City when it happened.
Seriously?
But
wow.
If Ray Rice did, Randy Gregory ever come back? Was
No.
that was the dude that
the Dallas
came back,
right?
Oh no, he did come back, and then he got suspended again.
Or was he the guy that threw the woman down on a pile of guns?
What
was that? Randy Gregory?
I don't know.
Didn't he go to the UFC?
No, I think he had some drug things. It was
yeah, he's playing now. Shout out to Craig.
Yeah.
Oh, shout out Craig.
All right,
I don't know. It's
Shout
just
again,
if Ray Rice was a 24-year-old, pass rusher that can terrorize
or a superstar,
versus kicking out a 30-year-old running back. Greg Hardy.
Yep.
Greg Hardy is the guy.
Greg Hardy is who you're. Yes.
Greg Hardy. Yes.
Like the Hardy Bros, right?
Sorry, Randy.
Yeah, exactly.
Gregory. I apologize.
All right. Well, Justin, here, let's kick it back here to fantasy question. Justin, shout out to Justin. Shout out to Chef. Shout out to Tilt. Do I pick up AJ Dillon, Tony, or Booker? Tony. Has there been news about a suspension?
For Tony?
Yes.
For who? For Tony?
No,
He's
I
hurt,
read
though.
Like a 1-game suspension. I don't know.
Dinged up, but it sounds like he's going to play.
Okay.
But as far as the suspension goes, no, the league has already said that they're going to fine him, but he won't get suspended.
Okay. Yeah, Tony. Pick up Tony.
Yep, I think he has the highest upside. I don't trust Devontae Booker. I don't care how good he did last week. It's a trap. He's only scored 20-plus points 3 times in his 6-year career. Wow. He's eclipsed 10 points, probably like 10, 15 times. But over 6 seasons, you're looking for more out of a running back that you're going to try and roster. And what it's going to cost you to roster him right now, because everybody's so psyched about his 20.8 fantasy points last week. I mean, Chef, you're a Giants guy. What do you think? Am I off base on this? Is he going to get more work than we think next week?
I mean, it all depends on the personnel. I definitely believe that he took Darius Slayton's job while he's been out. Sterling Shepard will definitely be a contributor no matter what. And we have Kenny Golladay, who's banged up again.
Right.
He had some kind of knee issue or something like that. So
yeah, hamstring and a knee. Like, come on.
Yeah, like
right.
Man, Golladay or Galladbad or You know,
they say Galladay today.
AJ Dillon is I feel like he's kind of flying under the radar though, because we've seen 2 weeks now where he's flex usable running back, and so I wonder about what's happening with the scheme there with AJ Dillon. Is he moving into that? I think early in the season we thought that he would be in that Jamal Williams role, and then he wasn't, and it was disappointing. But it does kind of seem like the last 2 weeks he's moved more into they're willing to split carries and they're willing to give him the ball more, and maybe he is that flex guy that we kind of thought he might be at the beginning of the season.
I mean, I'd like to see it one more week at least. I mean, the touchdown put him over the top this week, but he is catching passes. He's caught every single one of except for one target, he's caught every single one of his targets this season so far. So yeah, AJ Dillon. But if you're looking for immediate flex play option, Kadarius Toney is the guy for me.
Yes, I agree.
Also, can Javonte Williams be an RB2 for Week 7 versus the Browns?
Yes.
An RB2?
Can he? I'm sure he can. RB2. If he's RB24, or are you talking about your RB2 on your roster? I'm assuming that's what he means. Look at Chef.
Screenshot. Doesn't it kind of feel like RB2 right now is where like back in tight end 1 where like if the guy scores a touchdown, he can be RB2?
I think you might be talking about the second running back on your fantasy team.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. But I'm saying that it does kind of seem like to get into that top 24 with running back scoring this year, it just kind of feels like if he scores a touchdown, just like if a tight end scores a touchdown, he's a tight end 1. If the running back gets in the end zone, he's a tight end RB2. It kind of feels like this year.
Yep. I mean, I think so, right? The Browns. Who did they play last week?
They played the Chargers in that wild game, the 49-42 or whatever the final score ended up being.
I guess
that wild game.
It's tough to compare Eckler to Javonte. But he had like 17, 18 carries for 70 yards. That's kind of mediocre. But like you're saying, you're just hoping for the touchdown, right?
Yeah, he scores the touchdown. That's what you're hoping for.
Yep. I got J-Rob and Aaron Jones, and J-Rob has a bye week next week. Okay, well, you start J-Rob and Jones, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But J-Rob is a bye. Is that this coming week or in
next week?
Next week.
Because is there another London game this week? Is the Jags going to London? Is that what it is?
There? That's cool.
Because I thought the Jaguars are playing Miami in London, but I don't know if
back to back. That's cool.
I
woke up Sunday and I was like, "Oh, there's a game. This is cool."
I love the London games. I love the London games. I love the Monday Night Football doubleheader. I wish we had that every week. I love the London game. I wish we had that more often. And there's that one that they sneak in. They do the night game, and so then it's at like the 1 o'clock window or whatever it is, and that's just disappointing. But
the next London game is the 17th. So 2 weeks.
Okay.
Oh, no, wait, 5 days. 5 days.
This week. I mean, it's almost Halloween, boys. It's time's flying.
Yo, we got to do a Halloween episode and dress up.
What do you want to dress up for?
I don't know. We'll figure it out.
I'm dressing up as Corey.
I'm dressing up as Nate.
Yes.
Put it on AJ
dress
Dillon,
up as Chef.
If I had to put a claim on AJ Dillon, this is the dude that's got Aaron Jones. I would handcuff.
Yeah, and Saquon will be back soon, right?
Yeah.
He'll only miss next week from what I'm hearing.
Exactly, yeah. All right, league going for it now. Superflex tight end premium traded 222 first and Jerry Jeudy for Keenan, Zeke, and Gronk.
I like that going for it now.
Yeah, Jerry Jeudy's on the IR. Is he on the IR for the entire year?
No, he's supposed to be back.
No,
he's
ahead
of
schedule. Next week or so.
He said like 6 weeks, and he's ahead of schedule, I think.
Yeah.
So
he'll be back soon. He'll be back soon.
Trade 222 first for Keenan, Zeke, and Gronk. You got to do what you got to do, right? When's Gronk coming back?
This week, possibly.
Wow.
Arians hasn't ruled it out. He says it'll be more of a game time decision, but he could
And
play.
either way-
That's the roster right there with Jeudy and Gronk.
I mean, you hope it pays off because you did give up a lot of capital.
That's my thought. I think that you gave up a lot. The value on Jerry Jeudy and where those 222 firsts land. If one's, I don't know, 22 class, everybody's kind of down on. I think there's going to be some decent players.
Some salad.
It's the same thing every year. It kind of feels like where everybody's down in the class, and then by the time we get to the rookie draft, you're like, oh, I really want to have a top 8 or 9 pick because I really like.
Well, that's because we all
these handful of running backs or these 2 quarterbacks.
That's because we all spend a ton of time hyping up guys we hope hit.
Yeah.
Yeah, until we see Spencer Rattler stink.
Right?
Yeah, he's done. Spencer Rattler's done.
But for this, I think, you got to be aggressive. You have to overpay, right?
Not necessarily.
No.
I don't know, because I feel like if I'm the owner and I'm the guy that has Keenan Allen, Zeke, and Gronk, I'm kind of thrilled to get off of them right now. It's Allen's not been producing. Gronk's hurt, but you're happy with his production. But still in Dynasty, you're happy to turn that into something if you're not winning. Zeke is the guy that he's been a lot better than it has been expected. I know Chef just bought Zeke in a league, but that is a move that I don't know. You're happy to get off those guys.
I like it.
Feel like
I like it. So here's where I like it.
I like it for both sides.
I think Keenan Allen is a guy who, when the fantasy playoffs start, is going to hit a groove, and he may hit it just slightly before that. But if you're a team that's going for a win now, and you can have Keenan Allen on your roster as a wide receiver going into the fantasy playoffs, that's gonna pay off.
He's still seeing the time.
Yep.
Look at Chef. I like the trade, Craig. You gotta do what you gotta do.
that's fine. I don't know. But like straight up, though, would you rather have Jerry Jeudy or Keenan Allen?
Keenan.
Jeudy. It depends. Long term, if I'm looking to win now, I want Allen.
Keenan.
Long term, I want Keenan. Or long term, I want Jerry Jeudy.
I don't know. I really like Jeudy. I think that,
I do too.
But we saw week 1, he was getting peppered. He kind of looks like what you'd expect out of Keenan Allen's production the week 1 with what he put up. But
sure, and I suppose when he comes back, KJ Hamler's out of the equation right now. I mean,
Alberto too.
Alberto as well. But they signed David Moore and John Brown today to their practice squad. So watch out.
Isn't it wild where, like, you would have thought beginning of the season, the Broncos have the most talented wide receiver room in the league, arguably, when you factor in depth. And then it's just crazy how some of these teams have estimated injuries.
Yes.
Gronk is out for Thursday night's game with the Eagles. Steady progress since suffering cracked broken ribs and punctured lung, but isn't quite there yet. I mean, Broncos. The Bucks are fine. You want a healthy Gronk for the actual NFL playoffs. It's only week 6. Cameron Brate, he's serviceable. Mm-hmm. You still got AB, Godwin, Evans.
Yep.
Could you imagine puncturing a lung and then puncturing a lung and breaking ribs, and you're going to go back out there in
2-3 weeks?
A couple weeks.
Gronk can do it.
I feel like
he wants to.
Puncture lung. I'm not moving off the couch for 3 months. Sorry.
I can't even go.
Do you guys? I don't know, Corey. You probably won't remember this. Jeff, you might. When Peter Forsberg ruptured his spleen in the second period of game 5,
go Rocky,
Stanley Cups,
Avalanche
playoffs, and he finished the game with a ruptured spleen. He missed the rest of the series because he almost died.
Oh,
but the dude ruptured his spleen in the second period and scored 2 more goals in the third freaking period. Dude.
I was at a Hawks game. Chicago, I grew up in the Chicagoland area. They were playing the Avalanche. Forsberg scored 2 goals. And then all of a sudden, the crowd's chanting, Forsberg, you suck, because it's just Chicago fans. And then, I'm not even kidding, under a minute later, he scores another goal.
Yep.
And is just celebrating, rubs it in their face. And then the Chicago fans are like, Forsberg, you still suck. It's like the dude has a hat trick on you in the second period.
He's one of the greatest players to ever play the game. I mean, he's up there in that Gretzky tier, in my opinion. But this isn't a hockey show. I'm sorry.
Homer.
I don't know what the show is.
We were talking about? We were talking about dishes.
That's true.
This is our show.
We do what we want.
Marlon Mack. If Chef comes back, you want to talk about Marlon Mack.
Is that trade done? I'm confused because it kind of seems like people are saying that it is, but
we got the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Ravens, 49ers, maybe the Patriots, Dolphins consider it. Chiefs lost CEH. Marlon Mack looked fine. Shout out to Cam Akers.
You know who should get traded?
Dude, I was impressed watching him last night. He didn't look scared to run.
No.
He didn't look scared to cut. He didn't look afraid to be on the field. And if he can keep that up, he's going to be what I thought he could be post-injury. I was stoked about Marlon Mack coming into this season. People told me I was nuts. It's like, he's a different kind of athlete. Where this is a different era.
Akers too.
Same with Cam Akers, man. I've got him. I'm holding him on IR in Dynasty where I have him because we don't.
Look at that timing.
Said when the Akers injury happened, that all you needed in Dynasty is Marlon Mack to have one good run, and you're going to recover your value off Cam Akers, what got lost.
And he had a couple of them yesterday. A great first down run to get the 7-8 yards, and then obviously he hit the wide open hole, but he still, did a little cut guy, and it kind of exploded right through it. He's what you want to see.
Yeah, I couldn't have hit that hole and gone through it. They would have caught me way before I got through there.
Well, I mean, I'm sure even a bad Achilles, he's probably better than you.
Yeah, that's a fair statement. I'm almost 40 with bad knees.
Yeah.
So
yeah. No, but it looked good. I was happy to see Marlon Mack look fine and look confident and just happy to be out there. And I hope whatever happens, he's on his last year of the contract with the Colts. If he does get traded to a team, he could at least provide serviceable, meaningful time for the NFL team. I don't care about fantasy. I mean, I do, you know what I mean? But I just care more for him as the human.
Yes.
Do you know who should get traded?
Serviceable. Man, he's going to take over the Kansas City backfield.
Well, that's what I mean. You never know, but I hope.
I froze again. Oh,
still,
perfect.
We can hear your beautiful voice still. So, well, we're trying, man. We really want to talk about Marlon Mack for you.
Dalvin Cook should get traded, by the way. Dalvin Cook should be traded.
Dalvin Cook?
Dalvin Cook should be traded.
They ain't letting him go.
In the actual NFL. What? He's like, wasn't he like 25, 26? Like, what do you think you're going to win, Minnesota? I mean, you were bad last year. You start off the bad this year. Madison looks like he can be productive. Do it. Let's trade Dalvin Cook to a contender.
Is this just you just being you right now?
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm not basing it off of anything. I'm just saying, like,
does he have a
putting
contract?
two together.
Yeah, obviously, he's playing.
Well, he's got a contract. He's signed to a contract with the Minnesota Vikings, but they should trade that contract to a different team. So
but is it like a big one or no?
I don't know. Me
either. This is the type of content you're getting, folks. Here, we're talking about trading Dalvin Cook, without even really knowing what's going on.
Well,
I'm
just throwing it out there.
I mean, dude, if a team wants to go get Dalvin Cook, go get Dalvin Cook. And if that's the NFL or fantasy, do it.
Yeah.
Hey, we got another trade question. I don't know what trade that was. Going to get a trade, getting Mixon and AJ Brown for Aaron Jones.
I mean, I don't understand. I don't know. I mean, you're buying. It's a good value on AJ Brown, but like, you're going to play him right now. I mean, buys are coming up, but I think that's one of the things that I see a lot of these. You see a lot of these 2-for-1 deals, and you're kind of like, are you playing this guy in your lineup or like? And I think the other thing that people need to remember too, when you're doing a 2-for-1, if somebody's offering you a 2-for-1, you put the other player that you're dropping into the deal and look at it as a 2-for-2, because that's really what's happening. And so if you're dropping Jalen Waddle off that deal to bring in AJ Brown, and you're trading Jalen Waddle and Aaron Jones for Joe Mixon and AJ Brown, who's doing that deal? Like, you're not.
I'm not. No way.
No.
Mixon can't stay on the field.
Yeah.
Hey, man, he got a touchdown last week. Bad ankle.
Yeah, well.
Thank you, Brad. Love this. 4 years left on his deal. He signed
probably not wise to do that.
4 years. Well, is it? I wish we had.
Well, that's why Minnesota's Minnesota. They gave Kirk Cousins like the largest quarterback contract ever, and not to say that he has. Look, I think this has always been my issue with Kirk Cousins is he's overpaid, and people think he's something he's not. He's a very efficient quarterback, but he's not going to blow the roof off. So why are you taking him as your QB1? There are better options unless you were going 0 QB in the draft.
Right here. Look at this. Guaranteed salary. 0.
Yeah.
Next year, 0 guaranteed salary. So I'm sure they could, easily get out of that. That's a good contract then, language. I should zoom in.
Yeah. You know who Kirk Cousins, he's like Baker Mayfield in like 5 years, I feel like, where like, and I worry about the Browns because the Browns have done so good a job of building talent on that roster, but that Mayfield contract is coming, and does Baker Mayfield feel like a guy that is going to run through the playoffs, beat Patrick Mahomes, beat Josh Allen, beat Lamar Jackson, beat Justin Herbert, and then win the Super Bowl? Because that's what you're dealing with in the AFC right now. And so if you've got that, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that, because he's as close to a franchise quarterback as the Browns have had in a long, long time. And so I can't imagine them walking away. But that feels like if you give Baker Mayfield a contract, a Josh Allen level contract, and that depth is going to chip away at that roster real quick once some other guys start up. Because Myles Garrett's contract will be coming up too, and so it's just, I don't know. They're going to be in a tough spot with that.
I don't think you can, right?
It's hard not to, though.
Big of a contract. I don't think you should, but I think they will.
I think they will too, because it's just hard. It's really hard
to
not
replace
to do that. And the Washington with the Kirk Cousins, I feel like they're the one team that hasn't done that, and they still haven't really nailed the quarterback position. Not that they wish they'd be paying Kirk Cousins what he's making, but it does. It does. I think there's something. There were some questions about Lamar Jackson with Baltimore potentially trading Lamar Jackson and taking a quarterback and kind of avoiding the contract and restarting that cycle. It'd be interesting to see if a team actually did that, just because there's so much value on that quarterback rookie contract that, if you were to take a guy like out of North Carolina, Sam Howell slips in the draft, and you take him, and all of a sudden, you think he's close enough to being what we're getting out of Baker Mayfield. And then, it's interesting, but this is the type of thing that Browns fans already don't like me, and Browns fans are really not going to like me. But this is the type of thing where I don't know what I'd be doing right now if I were them.
Shout out Brad. He is our contract guy.
Yeah, he's our producer. He's our stat guy.
Shout out to our producer Brad.
Oh, they did extend this
Go on the show. Come on.
Yeah. Wow. And he has a lot of guaranteed money. So.
A lot of money.
But who's a guy that's worth it when Baker is just
imagine signing a piece of paper that somebody's give you $100 million
and $100 million guaranteed?
Yes, $100 million guaranteed. You're 25.
Sign me up.
Here's $100 million guaranteed.
Millions of signing bonuses. That's really nice, dude. Shout out to being athletes. There's a huge discrepancy if they deserve the money, but that's just where the money is for, the media, the advertisements, all that stuff. So shout out to Myles Garrett. Okay. This kind of prompted a question. If you guys were to start an NFL franchise, let's say you could pick one offensive player and one defensive player. Who are the two players you guys are picking for your franchise?
I'm going to pick Josh. I'm going to pick Patrick Mahomes. So that's
offensive
player.
Defense.
I would probably
Hunter Renfrow.
Chase Young is appealing, but I wonder if I'd go with Myles Garrett instead of Chase Young. I don't know. I'm trying to think here.
You got to go edge rusher, right?
Yeah, Nate? I lean edge.
While you think, Nate, offense?
So offense, start a franchise, probably Josh Allen.
You got to go quarterback on offense.
You got to go quarterback on offense. Defense, that's hard because I feel like safety is a little bit more of an important position, but there isn't really anybody out there right now that I love to start a franchise with.
Brad gets it.
Oh, dude, I don't know if I'm going Donald, though.
If you could, I don't know. Can you guarantee me Donald has 5 more years?
No, I would not go Aaron Donald.
Well, then I'd go Myles Garrett then, like Brad's saying.
I'd probably go, honestly, I'm probably going to go TJ Watt.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah. Oh!
Hey!
Aaron Donald's 30 already.
Yeah, I don't know how. If you could guarantee me 5 years of Donald at that level, I'll take Donald.
But you can't.
You can't. So I'll take Garrett then. I like the Watt. Just get an edge rusher. I feel like that's the second most important position in the NFL behind a quarterback.
Yep.
So, Chef, we were saying if you could start a franchise, one offense, one defensive player, who are you taking?
One offensive, one defensive lineman?
Player.
Just player in general?
Yeah, one on each side of the ball.
Derrick Henry.
To start a franchise?
To start a franchise. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're starting a franchise from scratch, and the entire player pool in the NFL is available to you.
Give me Josh Allen and Trayvon Diggs.
Javon Diggs, good start. Yeah, I think
That's
I'm going
not
Patrick
bad.
Mahomes, and I'll lock in Myles Garrett as my other guy.
Yeah, Mahomes and Garrett for me too.
Yeah.
And
Allen
then
and TJ Watt for me.
Allen and Watt, and then sorry, who did you say? Josh
I feel
Allen.
terrible that not picking Josh Allen over Patrick Mahomes when Josh Allen's my quarterback, but it's like you're just conditioned as a Bills fan of like until this guy is holding a Super Bowl trophy, like you're waiting for the other two to drop.
I feel you, dude. Look how cute.
Tell Jeff AJ that he just did his quarterback dirty.
I did do my quarterback.
He just did his diaper dirty.
I hope not. He's on my lap.
Oh, that's great stuff. Great stuff here. Oh, we got babies. We got board draft games
for the family.
Is it time for the board draft?
Yeah,
I think it is
definitely time. Thank God I got back for the board game.
I got to add
draft.
you in now. Hold on.
Hopefully I had to reset my router. Like this is like the worst live stream I've ever been a part of. I apologize.
No worries.
I feel like I need to play more board games. Like,
What are you doing, AJ?
some of the newer ones that look cool. I don't know. I'm not cool enough to play board games, apparently.
So board games, huh? Are we gonna? This is childhood board games right now. Board games.
any board game. Doesn't matter.
Do card games? There's on the board. Do card games count or no?
No. We can do. We'll do. Dude, we'll save that for another draft. Card games.
I was just checking. Board games. Were you guys a big games player? Growing up.
Well,
Now,
I think the three of us below you, Corey, all grew up without computers, really, for the most part. So board games were a huge part of our lives because our parents didn't understand video games either.
that's a good point.
Yeah.
Yep.
The problem was that I was hyper competitive, if you could believe
I'm gonna
this.
leave this up so you can.
I was hyper competitive as a child, so my family wouldn't play board games because they didn't end well.
What?
Oh, like Monopoly or something, or Life.
It usually didn't end well when I was a child playing a board game. If you guys could believe that, I could be very competitive about something.
Shout out to Brad's franchise. Jokes. All right, board games.
Jeff,
I have the
you're
first
up.
pick. Man, I feel bad. Like, do I have to pick Settlers of Catan? Is that like the best board game? I feel like
It depends on what you think it is.
Never
Well,
heard of
every rank. I mean, every rank has it number one every time I look up. So I feel like that's like the Christian McCaffrey, where I'm just gonna take him and say, okay,
What is it?
I want to play it someday. I've never played it before.
What is it?
Settlers of Catan. CATAN. Yeah. I don't know. I just look up a list of best board games and it's number one.
Dude, that's going to be called the Settlers of Canton.
A couple more expos and it will be.
Right.
We were
man.
what was that place called, Nate? Where we were at when we were playing games? The first day?
What was it? It started with an M.
Magical?
No.
Miracle on Ice?
No. I should know this. I've seen it on our credit card statement like 30 times.
It was fun, dude. That was cool.
I'm gonna give you my pick and then I'll
Yeah. I mean, I'm not too concerned about it, but it seems like you are.
well
You asked.
I did, but like he's like, it's one of those things where you like gotta know, I guess.
Milestone.
Milestone.
Shout out my wife Jen for organizing all of us and rounding us up into that place.
They,
And buying they did, man. And I didn't get to eat one, but I just watched all you guys.
Neither. I saw everyone eat it.
So for my first board game, I'm going down to my childhood because it's one of my favorites. And we bought it recently and played it, and it's just as cool. Mousetrap.
Never heard of it.
Mousetrap.
What?
Okay, my bad.
Oh. Dude, you build a whole
Oh, this sort of rings a bell.
yeah, dude, you build like a whole marble obstacle course. It's awesome.
Nice. I still have some memories, but not too much.
So anyway, that's my pick.
$20.99, get it fast and free shipping. Amazon Prime. Oh, I'm up.
Oh.
All right. I might as well just do it and just go with Monopoly.
All right.
Yeah.
I knew that wasn't falling to me.
I was going to probably take that one if I didn't just look at a list and say.
Yeah, I feel like that's a classic game in every family. Everyone gets pissed,
Yes.
hours of just,
All right, I'm gonna go intellectual here. My first pick will be Trivial Pursuit.
Oh.
I love Trivial Pursuit. I am very, very good at it. Trivial Pursuit. Or Trivia Pursuit. No, Trivial Pursuit.
Trivial Pursuit.
Don't get confused. That's a movie.
And
I'm up next.
You know what? I love me some chess, man.
Oh,
Ooh.
I like that. You talk about getting intellectual.
Chef out here is playing chess. Everybody else is playing checkers.
And
damn right, bro.
Checkers.
Corey.
I'm going to go with life. The game of life.
That was my other one that I was going to go pick.
Life.
But I went intellectual.
Nate?
Oh, so Jen and I had a couple summers ago, we got really into board games. And Mousetrap was one. Monopoly was also one. But this one was a big one. Battleship.
No, dude, I wanted that.
That was on my list.
I can't believe that I got it.
Hit. I need to look
My
up
turn
the
now.
You're back to back
It's
here.
yours, Settler.
What does your list say?
Well, my list says a game called Ticket to Ride that I don't know what that is. So I'm just gonna go with Scrabble.
Nice.
That's a good one. It's a good one.
Then I'll stick in the make sure my team all starts with S, and I'll go with Scattergories as my next pick.
Oh, did I spell that right?
No, but it's okay.
How do you
You
spell it?
never do, so it's okay. There's 2 T's.
Oh.
And there's an E,
And
not
it's
an
an
A.
Well, you said scatta. I don't know.
Scattergories, apparently. Scattergories.
But Jeff is Team S.
Team S indeed. Oh man, so this is tough because there are so many games left that I love. But I think I'm going to go with a relatively new one that Jen and I found, thanks to her sister and brother-in-law. It's called 5-Second Rule.
Oh,
Second rule. Huh.
dude, that's what happens when I drop food.
Oh yeah, well of course.
My kids have learned the 5-second rule. They will stand there and count to 5 and then pick it up.
At like 4.5.
Almost had to change it to the
No,
10
they'll
second
count
rule.
to 5 and then they'll pick it up.
That's awesome.
That's fun. And I think I have to give a big shout out to Craig here. Risk.
Nice.
Oh man, you guys left me a bunch.
A lot of board
You
games.
4?
Yeah,
Let's add one more round because I've got another game that I didn't shout out that I really want to get in here, and none of you are going to pick it.
All right. Well, one is my favorite. It's not. I guess it's not a favorite, but I'll always play it. Connect 4.
Oh, the good one, dude.
Nice.
And then one growing up, since I'm staying intellectual, Stratego.
That's what I wanted the extra round for, Chef.
Yes, let's
I
go.
love it.
I love Stratego. It's an E, not an I, Corey. But it was way before you were born, so it's okay.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, Stratego with the spies and the bombs,
and you got the miners, you got the king.
It was very, very strategic.
Yes.
Go figure.
Yes.
But yeah, I grew up playing the original of that one. Very, very fun game. And
With the old school, like rectangular, like almost castle looking on the top,
Yes,
red and blue
yes.
pieces.
Mhm.
Yep, me too.
I'm just gonna take a nice nostalgia one, and just gonna take Candyland.
Oh,
There you
okay.
go.
There you go.
There's a couple more out there that are fun too.
Nate,
Since Chef stole my Stratego, which I did not see that coming,
it was strategic.
I'm going to go with Backgammon.
Nice.
It's another one I grew up playing.
Did you have the chess board that opened up in the center of the chessboard? There was a backgammon.
No, we had a dedicated. It was like a suitcase.
Yeah,
for
yeah.
backgammon that opened. There was no chessboard though. It
on the other side of mine was a chessboard. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. We did not have something that cool. I didn't learn how to play chess until I was like 14.
No, I don't.
I'm going to go with Clue.
Yeah, that's why.
Nice.
Clue.
Like Clue.
What are some other ones that we missed?
Guess
Operation?
who?
Oh,
Guess who?
Operation?
A lot of
Jenga?
Jenga.
Jenga.
Operation.
Operation. I played that the other night with my daughter.
We have so many board games here too. And I'm just Taboo. Taboo's
Parcheesi?
Parcheesi.
Is that how you search for things? Or you go to yahoo.com and then search for something?
What?
Nothing.
Ooh, I got one in the comments that we
there it is, Stratego, baby.
Stratego.
Hungry hippos.
Yep. That game's loud and annoying.
Yeah, that game's, as a parent, that game is less than ideal.
Checkers and Chinese checkers.
Blocus. Never heard of that.
Agricola?
Nope. Connect 4. There we go.
Twister. Operation.
Don't break the ice.
Have you ever seen videos of Rajan Rondo playing Connect 4 and he plays like 2 games at once and he always wins?
No, but I did
Wild.
I saw a video of this guy today drawing with 4 pencils on one stick, and he like manipulates his hand and is drawing 4 faces at the same time, and they all look like photographs.
Wow.
That's impressive.
What is this one?
Who knows?
Traffic Jam. Trouble's a good one.
Trouble is a good one. Sorry is a good one too.
Sorry.
I feel like in
There
the
you go.
90s we had all
Yahtzee.
Yahtzee.
Apples to apples.
Do you remember that?
Or Cards Against Humanity. Is
But
that
that's not a
game?
board. It's not
It's
a
a
board
card
game.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah, neither is Uno though. They tried to make it a board game.
It does say best board games of all time. And we got Uno. We got
Yeah, but that's Better Homes and Gardens. Who knows?
Uno ends marriages and relationships, man.
There it is. Trivial Pursuit.
wow.
I saw a tweet the other day where it was like joy is fleeting, and it had a little kid with like holding one card, Uno card with a big smile on his face, and the other person had 4 cards, and it was all draw 4s.